Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are. My name is Anna Rochelle, and today we are going to find out all of the roots of our factored polynomials. Now, polynomials are just x's and numbers or y's, or some sort of variable, some sort of number, where the x's have various exponents, right? So generally, we don't see factored polynomials as problem sets, but this is just one skill of a big picture thing, right? So in this case, what we're really doing is setting each of these parentheses equal to 0 and seeing what x equals, right? So we're finding the roots. We're finding out when our polynomial equation, when our quadratic equation, our cubic equation, or whatever equation is going to go in and hit our x-axis. So in this particular equation, we are going to have the x hit at 1 and 8. So realistically, the step that I didn't show you in here is we're taking x minus 1 and setting it equal to 0 because our y is going to be equal to 0 when our polynomial hits the equation. For example, let's say here's 1, here's 8. My quadratic equation is going to hit my graph here. At these 2 points, my y value is 0, right? This point is 1, 0. And this point here is 8, 0. So essentially, we're setting this, all of it equal to 0. This entire function gets set equal to 0, okay? So x minus 8, again, equals 0. So I just added 1 to both sides and got x is 1. I added 8 to both sides, got x is 8, yeah? I'm gonna do the same thing here. So I want you to pause this video, attempt this problem, and then come back to make sure that you're correct. You should have paused the video. If you didn't, go back and pause it. But if you did, you should get an answer of x is 1 and x is negative 6, not positive 6, right? Because what's happening is we're setting this equal to 0 and we're undoing this adding of 6. Okay. In this type of problem, do you notice how x is by itself here? So what's going to happen is we're going to set x equal to 0 and we're going to set x minus 4 equal to 0. Well, there's really no math that I have to do here, but there is some math that I have to do here. It's still pretty basic, but it's still math nonetheless. So in this one, my two answers are going to be 0 and positive 4. And then these guys are going to be that. Okay, let's take it a step further. Sometimes we're going to have cubic equations. So this is when x is to the 3rd power. We're going to have 3 roots, okay? We're not doing anything different than the previous problem. We're still going to set each of these equal to 0. And then it's kind of easy to say x is 1, 4, and negative 3, right? Because all we're doing is undoing the math that's happening. Here again, I have this x is by itself. So in this case, I'm going to set x equal to 0. Then I'm going to have positive 1. Then I'm going to have positive 8 and negative 4. Now, most teachers would prefer for the answers to be written in from least to greatest format. Some teachers even prefer this fancy pants bracket. So they'll prefer negative 3, 1, 4, you know, whoops, that's a wonky little thing. And then here it'll be negative 4, 0, 1, 8. It just depends on what the teacher prefers, and it also depends on what the book is asking for and what your multiple choice question is giving you, okay? Whoops, not what I wanted. I'm over here clicking buttons left, right, and center and seeing what happens. Okay, so in this case, we know that when something is squared, we're going to take this number and multiply it by itself, right? So we're going to have x minus 1 and x minus 1. Well, this looks just like the very first problem that we did, right? We're going to still set each of these equal to 0. And in this case, actually, we're going to have what's known as a double root. A double root is something that shows up twice, right? Hence double. You could have triple roots, quadruple roots. You could have lots of different types of roots. In this case, x is going to equal 1 for both cases. So you'll just have x equals 1, and it doesn't have to be shown multiple times. You can show it once. In this case, what happens is you're going to hit the 1, and you're going to actually kind of like bounce off. That's a really bad drawing of a parabola, but assume you get the idea, right? It's kind of like that happy face. Whee! Anyway, moving on. Okay, so this case, we're going to set this equals to 0, and I'm going to have 2 of these guys, right? But that doesn't matter, right? Because these 2 are still going to have that same root. So I'm going to have x is 1 and -2. Again, it depends on how your answer choice is being presented, whether it has those fancy brackets or something else, and it is what it is. Okay. So now there's no difference with the 3. There's no difference with the cubed, except you're going to have it show up 3 times. That doesn't mean that you're going to have to write x equals 1 3 times. You can just write it once, and that's going to be totally fine. And then final answers. I hope this video was helpful when looking at just finding the specific roots of these factored polynomials. Obviously, this is a small portion of the big picture, and the big picture is, we can do it in a different video, but this is not the video for that. So hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.